this is my studio space. This is the space that I do my finer work, the smaller work, and there's different objects of art around that are the smaller and finer things that I do, where I do a lot of twining or work with papers or assemble pieces that are already peeled and already sanded, and where I keep things. When I was a kid, I never really thought about being an artist, but I particularly liked it when some of the extracurricular assignments had to do with building something like a little teepee, and I would suddenly be so motivated to create this little teepee or to just build any small object that had to do with our studies, and that I could create something out of thin air. I just thought it was really magical, a magical process. And most of that happened when I lived in Germany. And we lived in Germany for 7 years when I was a kid. And we were surrounded by, during 4 of those years, by the Little Black Forest. And the Little Black Forest for me was just a magical place. It was so just really beautiful, filled with trees and greenery, and I could just spend hours and days there, and every minute that I could, I did. And I really fell in love with nature and with trees and with forms, and there would just be like acres of trees that were all just standing so pristinely, because the Germans would keep all of the trees trimmed, all the low vegetation trimmed. So you would just see these sculptural forms that would go on, and I really did fall in love with nature then. When I'm looking at different elements that I use in my artwork, they evoke certain responses from me, and I try to create something that is about them and is really not contrived. It is really what is natural to those forms, and the way that branches fit together, for example, for me, or even the way that fibers work. You know, it's all about the way grasses grow, the way they look, how they work together over time through the seasons, or the way that the branches kind of naturally would interlock and also be beautiful. You know, I want it to be about nature and also beautiful. One of the forms that I'm very interested in is the cylinder, and here is one of my cylinders. It's peeled lilac, and it's just this, has its own beautiful presence. I'm really happy with this type of work. My mom's family is Norwegian American, and the lines and the starkness that you see in Scandinavian homes was the same in my family's home. That it was very influenced by Scandinavia, and my work is also very influenced by that. You know, I look for clean lines, form, and I look for those things to resonate throughout the piece. It doesn't have to be busy. I just want that clean line. As far as my work and really how I market it, most of my work is I sell it through interior designers that work in the hospitality industry, and some in galleries. But I really love it when I get a call from a designer and they've looked on my website and they find something that is maybe only, say, 3 feet wide and 2 feet tall, and they want something that's 11 feet wide and 9 feet tall. Can I do this technique and create something in that? And I love that. I love the whole idea of just being able to push what I do and create something that's even more interesting to me. And to meet with, it's not so easy to find the designer contacts, but I used to I used to advertise in a book that was a Guild Source book for interior designers, and then since then they've gone online, but I keep those contacts up with my design people. And right now, this fall, I'll be working on a chandelier that for a Marriott in outside of Denver, and it's going to be in the lobby, which is quite cool. I'm happy for that. And so the prototype for the chandelier that I'm making for the Marriott outside of Denver, it'll be 6 feet in diameter and really filled with branches and lit. a big part of, a big element of what I do is that I have to go out and get materials, and that really is a major workout, and it's best to do it in the spring when the sap is running if I'm going to be peeling the wood. So it's mostly wood and branches, right now tree trunks, which I've been just putting out the call, do you have any tree trunks for me? And you know, friends contact me, people know that I need these materials, so they come and they ask me, do you want this stuff? And I try to say, I'm going to say no if I can, because I end up with a lot of materials, but I really do just look at everything people offer me, and then I have all kinds of different places to keep these materials. So I went to Sweden when I was 32 because I really wanted to become an artist, and I wanted to become a weaver, and I wanted the technique down pat. So I went there, and I went to this school that they have, a craft school out in the country, and it was a 5-month course. It was pretty extensive, and that was really, really important for me because I hadn't had any classical art training prior to that. And then when I was there, I met a fiber artist, Vivica Nygren, and she was getting ready for an installation in Stockholm, and she hired me to come and live on her farm and work for her. And that was a very challenging time to live with her, but I learned something that has really seen me through my art. It's that, you know, that if you do anything, it has to be cleanly done, and the repetition throughout. You have to stay with whatever technique you use, and that's really, really helped me immensely. This is one of the pieces that I made while I was studying in Sweden. These black squares got me into a lot of trouble. They were not supposed to be there, but I wanted them. It's a very traditional culture. So I went to Huxley College, and I was very interested in environmental sciences and in saving the environment. And so I went through these 4 years of this study, and in the course of it, you know, I really was also motivated to use this kind of imagery in my art. And at first it was tapestries. I would weave pictures of trees, and I really tried to bring the environment in that way. And then eventually now it's much purer. It is about the trees, the branches, the grasses. And when I look at them, when I work with them, I think, what is this? What does this piece say to me? What is it really can it most easily and most beautifully become? This is a sketch that I have for a piece that I've made for the city about nature and the balance, and it's called Forests and Invasive Species. And it's really about the pine beetle infesting our forests. So the last time you saw these, I was just creating the scallops, and now they're all carved down and sanded, and I've drilled the holes. And so these holes that you see are filled with a polymer, and I have little the beetles inside of them. And so when I stand these up, the light should shine through and down onto the sidewalk, and you should be able to see the beetles. And the polymers are different colors. They're sort of amber to red and green. These will all stand in this triangular format, and I think it'll be a striking piece.
Well, sure, I guess so.
It'll do. Ta-da! Here, I'll stand in the middle.
Good, that's a good idea.